Heather Dawson. So let's start our show with the cheese store of Beverly Hills, one of the first real cheese stores in the country. An iconic LA foodie destination is officially changing ownership after 4 decades. Let's hear this cheesy story firsthand.
My name is Norbert Wabnick, and I've owned the cheese store of Beverly Hills since 1978. I came to California to become a rock star, and that went so well that I had to get a job here for $1.80 an hour. One thing led to another, and my family helped me buy the store. It was one of the first real cheese stores in the United States, and it has sort of grown with Beverly Hills. And the people that live here are well-traveled, affluent, and have expectations. If they want good cheese, they come here.
I'm Dominic DiBartolomeo, and I've been part of the cheese store for the past 20 years. You know, when growing up in New York City, I knew I wanted to be involved in food. This was the store that can help me learn. I never once felt like I worked for Norb. I always felt like I worked with Norb. Norbert allowed me to actually start my own business, Domenico's Foods, and make mistakes, learn my business, all while working here at the store.
Because the store has a very unique feel to it, not everybody would get it. Dominic got it. The minute he walked in, I realized that he is right for the store. So after 44 years, it's time to pass the torch, and no one better to receive that torch than Dominic.
It's not only a place where I launched Domenico's Foods, it's a place where I harness my craft. I actually met my wife here.
Walked into the cheese store and immediately spotted Dominic. We had a really nice conversation. As I was leaving, he gave me a loaf of bread to take, and that's when I thought there could be a future in this relationship. And a few years later, he proposed to me in the very spot where we met.
It's my honor to continue the legacy and to provide the community with the level of quality and service that's synonymous with the Beverly Hills experience. And we've got big things in store.
Believe it or not, Halloween is almost here. Are you looking for some fun decoration ideas for a party or just to get into the Halloween mood? Well, Party Pro Melissa DiNapoli has some easy 10-minute indoor holiday decor ideas.
Party City, we make it really easy to get that spooky vibe really quickly at home. We have a great selection of skeletons. You can see behind me, we have our skeleton here with the pumpkin. We have a great selection of fog machines and misters. So right here on this table, this pumpkin and this little skeleton here are actually doing double duty for us. They're not only cute and really fun, but they're adding to that vibe with the fog and the mist. You can't go wrong with any of our tombstones. And then right here we have this great pop-up coffin. This pop-up coffin takes seconds to assemble, and you can just throw a skeleton in it and you'll have a great spooky vibe.
And if you're looking for the most popular costumes of 2024, Melissa has some great ideas for adults and kids.
For our popular costumes this year, we're seeing a lot of Western glam themes. So right behind me, I have this great female costume, tons of fringe, sparkles, really get that Western glam vibe. We have a great apocalyptic cowboy costume back here. And then you can see this great skeleton costume is actually really easy if you're not interested in getting too dressed up. It's a onesie and it glows in the dark. And for kids, we have our firefighter, our witch, and our cowboy. And honestly, we have a ton of licensed product at Party City, and movies are a huge trend this year. You can't go wrong.
And if a do-it-yourself costume is in your future, some cool accessories can make a big difference.
Super easy. You start with things in your own closet. So a pair of jeans and a flannel, maybe a little black dress, and you can personalize it with all of the great accessories that we have at Party City, like makeup, bodywear, hats, and wigs.
And don't think costumes are just for Halloween. Melissa says there are a number of ways to reuse a kid's costume throughout the year.
Think beyond Halloween. These are great for your kiddos to keep for dress up all year round. If they want to have a themed birthday party, think about those school spirit days. And if you want to use them for Halloween next year, you just have to change up some of the accessories and make it your own.
You can find all the items Melissa talked about at your local Party City and at partycity.com. We wish you a spooky, fun, and safe Halloween. I'm David Wiley for Coast to Coast.
Why do we eat our feelings? Nutritionalist counselor Dr. Iflin discusses the difference between emotional eating and physical hunger. Here's Elise.
And today I will be interviewing nutritional counselor Dr. Joan Iflin, who specializes in emotional eating, food triggers, and the psychology behind binge eating. How are you, Dr. Iflin?
I am just delighted to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And I'm so excited to talk about this subject because I think that this is something a lot of people struggle with, especially after quarantine. For me, a lot of the people I know, many of us, we turn to food when we're under stress, when we're in fear, when maybe we're just bored, because it can give us this false sense of fullness.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm curious, what emotions would you say trigger food cravings the most? What emotions cause, which ones should we look out for?
Yes, and this is such a good question. Any strong emotion can trigger a reaction in the brain, which consists of hyperactivating the reward centers in the brain. And that means your brain just floods with cravings. When we're under stress, the brain will try to make us feel better by activating the reward centers, the pleasure centers, but that activates the addiction too. So this is not, it's just a mechanical action in the brain that is the result of a lot of addictive business practices related to processed foods. And you just have to say, what is the motivation of an addiction company to come into processed foods? Well, they saw an opportunity to create addiction.
Mm-hmm. I think that's something that a lot of people, we crave those cookies, we crave something to snack on. And so another thing that I think is really interesting about hunger is a lot of times we don't always recognize when we're physically hungry.
Mm-hmm.
We want to eat something, but maybe our bodies don't actually need food at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
So what are the signs to tell the difference between I'm just emotionally hungry right now or I actually need food right now?
This is such a good question. Cravings happen in the head, mm-hmm. and they are for these foods that we've been duped into thinking are foods, but they're actually drugs. If you're hungry, it happens in your stomach. Your stomach is right underneath the bottom of your ribs, and that's where you'll feel it. I would say that step one for distinguishing between cravings and hunger is to get the processed foods and the signaling, the messaging, the advertising, this food stimulation, get that out of your home, get that out of your workplace. Stop eating processed foods in the car. So get the cravings to stop, and then you will know that if you want to eat, it's hunger.
Okay, that's so basically, if we recognize, okay, I am an emotional eater, I do that. The biggest thing you recommend doing is to just cut out those processed foods. Start eating healthier, lean meats, chicken, vegetables.
People don't realize that cravings are not normal, because I know for myself, I went to kindergarten with cravings. Mm-hmm. I ate sugary breakfast cereal and dairy. I had milk and toast and jelly and margarine on it. And those were all addictive substances. Mm-hmm. So I didn't know that it's possible for cravings to go away. But that is one of the greatest gifts of getting through withdrawal from the processed foods, is the cravings will stop, the obsession will stop. You get your brain back, and it's wonderful. But you do have to kind of create a bubble of protection around yourself, because the food industry is quite intense. They're constantly trying to signal, constantly trying to activate that addiction and get you to lose control and eat things that you regret.
I'm very thankful that I got to speak with you today. I
Thank
think
you.
it's something a lot of people can take to heart. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Welcome back to Coast. I'm Lisa Spalla. Today we are diving into the transformative world of bioidentical hormone therapy with our special guest, CarolAnn Tutera, who has been at the forefront of this innovative field. Celebrities like Halle Berry and Kate Winslet are sharing their menopause journeys, with Winslet recently discussing the use of testosterone therapy. This Menopause Awareness Month, we spotlight CarolAnn Tutera of Sotopelli, a leader in women's hormonal health. After her husband, Dr. Gino Tutera, passed, she continued his mission, helping thousands of women manage menopause and hormonal imbalances.
He's in 92, as a matter of fact. A physician came up to him and said, "Hey, how would you like to help put in a pellet?" And he said, "Sure, but what's a pellet?" He started putting in the hormone pellets with this physician. Well, 3 months after Gino had learned how to put in the pellets, he inherited this practice. So he was back there in the office, I was noticing, shaving down pellets because he wanted to make sure everyone got the right size, the right dose. As he said, wait a minute here, we're not all the same size. Why am I giving everybody the same dose? That's been around since 1939.
You have so many success stories with your clients. Can you share a couple notable ones?
You hear all the time how the husband is thanking us for giving back his wife. We've got one patient who moved to Scottsdale to be near us so she could get treatment from us because she absolutely loved not only the pellets, but our providers. We have a couple of ambassadors. One of them is Jim McMahon. He is Chicago Bear quarterback, and it got to a point in his life where he could not navigate and get through airports on his own. He didn't feel like getting off the couch. Once he was treated by my late husband, he turned into a whole different person. It is truly amazing what it's done for him. My late husband always said if he could just treat everybody in the US with hormones, 80% of them he really feels would come off the majority of all their drugs.
And you have a personal journey as well. Can you share what that's been like?
I've been on the pellets since my early 40s. I'm now 68. I feel like I'm the poster child. I've got more energy than a lot of people do my age without hormones. My sex life is fantastic when I have a good partner. Honestly, I think I've attracted younger men because they can keep up with me. My age and older, they have a hard time if they don't have hormones. I got a lot of spunk in my trunk. How about that?
Now that you have all this energy and you're in your second act in life, what more do you want to do?
I'm going into business with a friend of mine who's a builder, and we're going to build houses. I'll decorate, design, and then we'll sell them. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. I really am.
Finally, what is maybe the biggest misconception people have with hormone therapy?
They think it's a weight loss product, and it is not. It helps motivate you, get you off the couch. That's what the testosterone does. The losing weight, which some people do, is a byproduct. There is a method and science behind it that my late husband started, and I'm carrying on the legacy.
Thank you, CarolAnn, for that important discussion and for helping so many people. For Coast to Coast, I'm Lisa Spalla.
Hi, this is Abby with Coast to Coast TV. We all likely know that diet and exercise are important, but many people may not realize how managing our glucose levels can significantly enhance our overall health and well-being. Joining us today is nutritionist expert Pam Nisevich Bede, here to share the latest on a new breakthrough in continuous glucose monitoring. Welcome, Pam.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Of course. So why is it important to understand our metabolic health?
So metabolic health involves every biochemical process in the body. And as you might imagine, it's pretty complex, but it's actually pretty overlooked as well. And glucose is a major factor that impacts our metabolic health. And what that feels like is it impacts our sleep, our focus, our mood, our hunger and cravings, and more. But by using a continuous glucose monitor like Lingo by Abbott, we get to peel back the curtain. We get to understand what our glucose is doing so that we can make changes that work for us so we can start to feel better.
Perfect. And then how can Lingo help people?
So Lingo is built on the same glucose technology as Abbott's Freestyle Libre technology, and it's an over-the-counter device, a tool that you can use to understand what your glucose is doing. But more than that, Lingo is giving you coaching, it's keeping you empowered to make changes that work for you. Because most of us spend a lot of our day on this glucose roller coaster. Our glucose is spiking, it's crashing, and so on throughout the day. But what if we could keep it steady? What if we could make changes in our diet that made our glucose level a bit more steady and we would feel better? So whatever you can do to improve that diet, for breakfast, for example, what if you could add more to your breakfast to stay steady? Adding in protein, fiber, vegetables, fats, those slow down digestion. They slow down the glucose spike and the crash. And what that does is keeps you steadier and keeps you ready to tackle your day.
And what are the benefits of regularly monitoring our glucose levels?
By regularly monitoring your glucose, by understanding what's going on behind the scenes, you can start to understand what habits you need to change. Because it's not just general nutrition advice, it's very personalized.
And then where can we go for more information?
You can learn more about metabolic health. You can try Lingo for yourself by visiting hellolingo.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, Pam. This is Abby with Coast to Coast TV.
Every night, more than 54 million Americans living with obstructive sleep apnea stop breathing, exposing themselves to serious long-term health risks.
Obstructive sleep apnea is where our airway collapses multiple times at night. And if we think about why we have an airway, it's to help our lungs get rid of carbon dioxide and to intake oxygen. So when there's a blockage, our oxygen level falls, our carbon dioxide level goes up, and it can make our brain wake up. And some people do this multiple times an hour, multiple times during the night.
When untreated, OSA can lead to stroke, high blood pressure, and heart disease. Unfortunately, the majority of people with OSA remain undiagnosed. For sleep researcher Miranda Chappelle Farley, the signs of obstructive sleep apnea began as a child.
I was diagnosed with obstructive sleep apnea at the age of 21, but I've actually had symptoms since I was a kid. I can remember at sleepovers, friends complaining about my snoring. I struggled pretty heavily in school and academics throughout high school, and it got much worse in college. And it wasn't really until I fell asleep at the wheel of my car that I thought something might be wrong.
That's a scary way to find out something's wrong. A new national survey conducted by ApneaMed reveals that OSA has major personal, social, and mental health effects on those who are suffering.
We see that people are really concerned about the potential long-term health impacts of obstructive sleep apnea. And nearly 14% report a sleepiness-related motor accident within the last 12 months.
In addition, the survey found that 2/3 of respondents say they're unable to be fully present with loved ones, and nearly 50% say they don't share a bed with their partner. Results like these are changing how healthcare experts are looking at OSA.
You know, historically, we've looked at cardiovascular endpoints, heart disease, stroke, those types of things, without really considering how this affects our patients every single day. Like Miranda talked about, she was made fun of when she was a kid, right? And it wasn't until something pretty scary happened that was her call to action. And so it's really important for us as clinicians to understand that lived experience, right? Everybody is different. There's no one face of obstructive sleep apnea.
And surveys like this one by ApneaMed can help widen the perspective of OSA.
You know, I think it's really crucial that we understand that medicine is a team sport. This is such a huge problem that we really need as many smart and invested people to look at it through their lens.
And you're invited to check out the entire survey results as well.
If you're interested in hearing more, or reading more rather, about the survey results and learning more about lived experiences of those with obstructive sleep apnea, you can go to osasurvey.com.
Again, that is osasurvey.com. I'm David Wiley for Coast to Coast.
Well, that's it for us. If you missed any part of our show, go to our website. Please don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram and Twitter. I'm your host, Heather Dawson. We'll see you next time.